Namaste guys, ChristianRLong, Life Enhancement Consulting, giving you a big and beautiful shout out on this Monday evening here in Denver, Colorado. It's about 6 o'clock p.m. Mountain Time. Hope you had a beautiful weekend, got to spend time with friends, family members, loved ones. Maybe you learned something new, maybe you had a cool experience. Who knows? Who knows what you made happen over this past weekend. Just finished healing today, doing my practice, just had dinner. Still digesting. Clara, Namaste. How are you, dear? Hope you're well. And I want to jump on real quick and ask you guys the question, of all the professions on the planet, who do you think, or which profession has mastered their emotions? Has mastered their emotions. And the reason I bring this up is, many, many years ago, a mentor of mine in New York City, we were having a conversation, and I was having like a super tough time dealing with my emotions at that point in time. And he said to me, he goes, you know what you should do? Hola, Christian, so good to see your face. Love you. Aw. He says, you know what you should do? You should take some blank classes. And I was like, why would he want me to take those? He says, look, these people have mastered, to a degree, their emotional body because they've been able to develop a lot of flexibility in their emotional ability. So they can be crying 1 minute and then stoic the next. They can be screaming and angry and furious 1 second and be cool, calm, and collected the next, right? They take themselves in a character and out of a character. Ashley, Namaste. So, Stephen, Namaste. So does anyone have a guess as to one of the top professions in the world that helps you become masterful of your emotions? Anyone? Go ahead, throw out a comment, throw out a suggestion, throw out an idea, who you might think or what profession you think might have mastered their emotional bodies. And it's interesting because, Ashley nails it. A for Ashley. Claire nailed it too. They probably wrote it in at the same time, just some lag time. Yes, actors. Actors have, to a degree, mastered their emotional bodies. But the challenge with that is some actors are so wrapped up in their character, the thoughts, the feelings, and the beingness of that character that they merge their energies with that person. Rebecca, Namaste, right? So that can be somewhat of a challenging thing for certain people to do. Like Jim Carrey would be a perfect example of somebody who literally becomes the character in his movies for the entire beginning and ending of the filming. So when he did Andy Kaufman, and there's actually a documentary about it on Netflix, he literally became Andy Kaufman's character and would not break character even when they weren't filming for the movie. It's pretty amazing to be able to hold that. But guess what happens? You start forgetting who and what you are as the soul, and you become literally that character. So Stephen says, the biggest challenges in my life have prepared me for many other challenges. My life of challenges I should have made it through helps me breathe, pray, and feel guided through it. You have to do the drills if you want to have the skills. Ooh, that rhymes, Stephen. Including drills relating to handling emotions. So, which is a perfect interlude to this, that Alice Bailey, who was a channel for the great teacher known as the Tibetan Holy Master DK, said that humanity is still in its infancy of mastering its emotions. Because we have different levels of mastery in life. We have, Roberta, Namaste, we have mastery of our physical body, right? We have mastery of our emotional body. We have mastery of our thoughts. And then we have higher intuitive mastery, which 99.9% of the world's populace is not there yet. So we're still in our infancy of mastering our emotional body. How do we know this? Because how many of us, Jenny, Namaste, how many of us know the right thing to do, but we don't do it? And how many of us know the wrong things to do, but we do it anyways? Why do we do that? Because of our emotional body. because we feel like doing something that feels good and we don't feel like doing something that feels bad. But let's say we're addicted to something. We're addicted to drugs, alcohol, sex, shopping, our social media, right? We're addicted to it. And pranic healing defines an addiction as something that's unwholesome, unregulated, and excessive desire. That's what an addiction is. Unregulated, excessive, unwholesome desire. So we may know what to do mentally, but if our emotional body is not strong, healthy, and being guided by our higher selves, we tend to go to the swaying of our lower nature. Does that make sense? So we know going to the gym is the right thing to do, but we don't go because we don't feel like going. We know eating this kind of diet is the right diet for us to eat, but we don't do it because we don't feel like doing it. Marvin, namaste. And we can relate that to pretty much any and all areas of life. Doing the right thing versus feeling like doing something different. So we're still in our infancy of mastering the emotional body. And if you really want to stretch your emotional body and you really want to practice being a better person, Dean, namaste, be in relationships with people. So another profession that's actually extremely good to help a person master their emotional body is being in sales. You're like, why would sales be mastering your emotional body? Because what does it deal with on a consistent and persistent basis? All day, all week, all month, all quarter, all year, all career, it deals with rejection. And our ego and our personalities, our feelings, don't like to be rejected. It's a hit to our self-esteem. It's a hit to our self-image. It's a hit to our self-worth, right? So being in sales, how about being a mom's not a profession, Clara. But yes, being a mom, being a dad, being a parent stretches the emotional body and the heart, right? Because the heart deals with love of others, love of people that are not the self. So when you have a child, what do you have to do? Take your attention off of yourself, Heather, namaste, and put it on a child. Take your attention off your own needs, wants, and desires and put it onto your child, right? So that's constantly forcing the heart to open up, expand, and develop, right? We can expand our heart through a meditation practice, but to develop that heart, meaning to keep the expansion there, requires us to practice character development, loving kindness, non-injury to others. So yes, being a parent, super evolutionary for all the bodies, the physical body, the emotional body, the mental body, and the spiritual body. But as a profession, one of the best professions to develop your emotional body is acting and sales. And oddly enough, they're kind of intimately connected with one another. I've been in sales for about 20 years, and one of the guys that I was in sales with back in the day in Orlando was in timeshare. And this guy was a master salesman. And I swear, he like, before he took this job at the timeshare company, I think he worked for P.T. Barnum and Bailey, the circus, because he had a little colorful bow tie. He had the slick back hair. He was in his mid-50s, and he was like, hey, how you doing? Hey, what's going on? That's sex energy and solar plexus energy. So when somebody is very charismatic and when someone stimulates you emotionally, they have a degree of mastery of sex energy, solar plexus energy, and throat chakra, right? So a lot of salespeople don't feel like going in that day, trying to sell, getting rejected, overcoming resistance. It requires a tremendous amount of emotional willpower to be in sales. It requires a tremendous amount of emotional willpower to be in acting, right? Second chakra. It's sorted now. So it's interesting when you think about it that when an actor is going in, Fernando, I'm going to say, when an actor is going in for an audition, and let's say the actor's having a great day, and they're super optimistic about their their presentation that they're about to give. I'm using a sales term. I'm trying to remember the exact term. You guys can probably help me out with this. Reading, that's what it's called. When an actor goes in to read for a part, they have to, let's say they're having a good, happy, joyful day, and let's say the part that they have to read for deals with them connecting to depression, sadness, fear, anger, an opposite emotion. They have to transition from happy, joyful, and then bam, they have to shift into a screaming moment, a crying moment, a depressed moment. So that's a degree of emotional mastery, because the other people, the director and the casting director, has to look at that actor and go, that's believable. I really believe that you're terrified right now. I really believe that you're depressed right now. I really believe that you're full of angst and anguish right now, right? Those are what the good actors are. And actually one of the greatest actors, you can look it up, his name comes up in pretty much every single category, is Daniel Day-Lewis. Daniel Day-Lewis is one of the greatest actors, not of his time period, because he wasn't in that many movies, but one of the greatest actors of all time. And he recently retired from acting about 1.5 years, 2 years ago. But he was in not that many movies. Last of the Mohicans, There Will Be Blood, Gangs of New York. Those are some of the ones that off the top of my head. And he's a phenomenal actor. And you can't even tell. All you do is you see the character. You don't see Daniel Day-Lewis playing a character. All you see is the character. So that's a person who has developed a level of emotional mastery. And all of the great actors, great performers, and great salespeople, Becca, namaste, have mastered that in their lives. So it goes back to solar plexus. Solar plexus, solar plexus, solar plexus. Can you guys think of any other professions of people who have mastered their emotions, mastered their solar plexus? Go ahead, throw out some comments. I'll continue talking. I know there's always lag time. Rebecca says, being in sales does require stepping into character when entering the office or entering clients' homes. Absolutely. 100%. Absolutely. Clara says, gives new meaning to fake it until you make it. Correct. Because have you ever met somebody who might know the material of what they're trying to sell, a product or service, right? They know it here and here. Throat chakra, which is knowledge, Ajna chakra, which is understanding. They know the material, like having an engineer sell you something or having a teacher sell you something. It all makes sense. It's all clear, right? It all makes sense. It's all clear, but you don't feel inspired to act. Solar plexus. But you can have a salesperson who knows very little about the product or service, but because they have inspiration, enthusiasm, charisma, excitement, you're like, I don't know why I want to give this person money, but I feel so good when I'm with them. Does that make sense? So that's emotional body of one person fulfilling the emotional needs of another person, right? So they're selling each other they're basically selling each other energy. So Ashley says bartenders and therapists, 100%, right? You can have a therapist who has great knowledge of therapeutic techniques, great knowledge or great understanding of those techniques, but you don't feel anything with them. They're just like, it's like talking to a robot, right? There's no emotionality. And if we were, it's going to sound kind of weird, but if we were more mentally developed, right? If we were more, you guys are getting after it. If we were more mentally developed, we wouldn't be as influenced by our emotions. So Ashley says strippers, and Clara says porn stars. So we have bartenders, therapists, strippers, porn stars. What do these people do? Think about it. What do they do? They make other people feel good. Therapists make people feel good. Bartenders make people feel good. Strippers make people feel good. Porn stars, porn movies make people feel good, no pun intended, right? So they're making people feel good. Let's say you have an architect, right? You have an architect, you have a design that you have in mind. You want to add an addition to your house, you want to build a house from scratch, you want to build a farm, you want to build a ranch, you want to build something, right? And you meet with an architect, and the architect says, okay, here's your vision. But the architect has no enthusiasm, no excitement, no charisma, no joy. Well, you're not going to probably get excited about the new plan, even though the plan could be exactly what you need, want, desire. So marketing, the art of marketing is sex chakra, primarily. Sex chakra, solar plexus, and throat chakra. Primarily. And that's why a lot of people tend to not like salespeople. Why don't they like salespeople? Because they feel like they're being emotionally manipulated. They feel like they're being emotionally manipulated, when all there is an exchange of energy going back and forth from one person to another. A porn star isn't taking advantage of somebody, they're just manipulating their emotions. Just like a chiropractor manipulates somebody's spine for healing purposes or therapeutic purposes, right? As an energy healer, we're manipulating somebody's energy for healing purposes. A therapist is manipulating somebody's emotional and mental body for healing purposes. But again, because we're little bitty babies, collectively as the human soul, we're very immature when it comes to our emotional bodies. People who have a higher degree of emotional mastery can manipulate other people's emotional bodies who have less mastery. Very interesting, right? So what is the higher correspondence to the solar plexus chakra? The ajna. So this is emotional will. This is mental will. Emotional will, mental will. So mental will would look at the exact same situation of the porn star, of the entertainer, of the whatever product or service that's going on, and the person with the ajna would say, is that what I need right now? Will that help me accomplish my aim in life? Doesn't matter if it feels good or doesn't feel good. The ajna simply says, does that get me to where I need to go? Yes? Great. Let's buy it. Let's purchase it. Whatever. No marketing needed. No warm and fuzzies needed. No emotional energy at all. This, the throat chakra and above, is more subtle, more mental energies. So Rebecca says, educate the consumer, knowledge is power. Yeah. See, knowledge is power, so that's throat chakra, right? Knowledge is power, throat chakra. But if you don't, you have to, at this point in our evolution, in our development, you have to mix in all the energies. You have to mix in a little bit of sex, a little bit of solar plexus, a little bit of heart, a little bit of throat, a little bit of ajna, a little bit of, depending upon the development of the people that you're working with, you have to mix in all the energies for them to feel good. Like for instance, what if I jumped on this stream and we talked about the emotional body, but there was absolutely no inflection of any kind in my voice, and I just talked exactly like this for the next 10, 15, or 20 minutes, how much would you get out of the presentation? Not a lot, right? You need inflection, you need tonality, you need high volume, low volume, low volume, low volume. You need inflection, you need movement. See how I'm moving my hands? See how I move my head, right? So there's constant stimulus, which is stimulating your solar plexus chakra, because the solar plexus gets bored. Rebecca said it right there. The solar plexus gets bored. It needs to be stimulated. It needs to move. That's what the entertainment business is about. That's what the theme park business is about. That's what themed restaurants are about. It's stimulating your emotional body constantly. That's why you get on a roller coaster and you're like, you see it, you're like, you're kind of at that still point. Then you get to the top and you're like, and you kind of hold your breath, and then woo, and you're screaming at the top of your lungs. So just like a roller coaster provides you with that emotional stimuli, same thing happens when we purchase something, a product or service, to a lesser or greater degree. The emotional body is being stimulated, right? It's very, very interesting. And then how do you feel when you're done at a theme park? You've spent an hour screaming, yelling, crying, throwing up your hands, having an experience. How do you feel? You're like, you're exhausted. From an energetic perspective, your emotional body has purged out heavy, disease, congested energy, and your emotional body is temporarily depleted. So you're like, I'm fine. But then guess what? The emotional body starts to fill up with more energy, more prana, and then you have another wave coming up. So Stephen says, I often remind myself daily that I'm going to be happy regardless of my circumstances. I breathe and move my body to change my state. Yes, Anthony Robbins built his entire multi-billion-dollar career and industry off of the emotional body, of mastering your emotions. He is extremely good at mastering his emotions. If he doesn't feel like something, he gets himself in a state, whatever state he needs to get in, a resourceful state, confidence, certainty, clarity, inner power, inner strength, right? He does physical movements. He increases the volume of his voice to himself and to other people, right? That puts him in an emotional state to do what he has to do, right? Because when you don't want to do something, what happens? You either don't have enough energy or you have a lot of resistance. You have resistance to going to the gym. You have resistance to eating right. You have resistance to doing your spiritual practice. You have resistance to fill in the blank, right? So the emotional body needs to be triggered. Like, all right, let's do this. Let's make this happen, right? Stephen says, coherency training works. Of whatever form, synchronize your breathing, heart rate, body movements, and other positive patterns. Also, your energy bodies and system are alignment towards success. So what Stephen's talking about is a company that is called Heart Math. Heart Math. And it teaches you through breathing and being aware of your heart rate with a heart rate monitor, being aware of your inner state and syncing basically the mind, body, and spirit, if you will. So you have more coherence, so you think better and you feel better, right? But here's a big thing. I'll leave you guys with this, because this is a huge topic. We could talk about it for the next 8 hours easily. There's an affirmation that Grandmaster Chogo Koksui developed many, many years ago. I highly recommend checking it out. I'm not going to go into it in today's stream, called the I Am the Soul affirmation. I am the soul affirmation. And in that affirmation, you practice disassociating yourself from what you are not and associating yourself with what you are. So what aren't you? You aren't your physical body, you aren't your emotions, and you aren't your thoughts. So what are you? The soul. The soul. So when we're devastated by our emotions, we have depression, sadness, fear, anger, grief, unworthiness, all of these emotional energies that are very, very heavy and very dense. When we recognize that we are not those things, they're simply products of what the soul created, our suffering is alleviated. So what does that mean? If you're a carpenter and you build a staircase, are you as the carpenter also the staircase? No. The staircase is separate from you. The staircase is a product of your work. So your physical body, your feelings, your thoughts are products of your higher soul. Your higher soul is producing those things for certain purposes, lessons, karma, experiences, right? So we have to remember that we are the soul. We are not the negative thoughts, the negative feelings, the negative sensations. So Stephen having gone through a tremendous amount of physical pain, suffering, and sorrow due to his illness and his surgeries, it's giving him a great opportunity every moment of the day to practice, I am not the pain of my physical body. I am the soul. I'm not the pain. I'm the soul. I'm not the physical discomfort. I am the soul. And that takes a lifetime of practice to master that. So next time we're sitting across from a salesperson who is too pushy or too aggressive, also solar plexus energy, we can tap into the irritability that I'm feeling from this salesperson. This is not me. This is him. And even that is not him, because he's the soul, just like you're the soul. So it gives you an opportunity to be objective. And when you're objective, you're able to see things clearer, right? If you have water and you have dirt or soot at the bottom of the water, and you take a stick and you mix up the water, can you see to the bottom? No, because it's all muddied. The same thing when we're stimulated with physical pain, when we're stimulated with any kind of emotion, good or bad, stimulated with any kind of thought, good or bad, the water is getting stirred up. It's hard for us to see clearly. But when you calm your physical body, or still your physical body, when you calm your emotions, when you still your mind, you're able to access the higher intuition. You're able to know what to do. Does it make sense? I hope I didn't go over anyone's head. I hope I didn't use complicated spiritual or metaphysical jargon. We try to keep it simple, keep it clean and clear. Any other questions, comments you guys have about tonight's stream, feel free to throw it out there. As you've noticed, we're doing more streams the past week, and we continue to keep doing that and adding value to you guys. For those of you looking for healing, go to ChristianRLong.com. It's my name, it's my website, and sign up for a consultation, 30 minutes, find out what you need, how you need it, and then I can explain how pranic healing methodology can help you with that. Super easy peasy. And then Steven says, when MC Kiss invokes I am the soul, it brings me back to soul level, even if briefly. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So we still have a long way to go in mastering our emotional bodies. A long way. The higher controls the lower nourishes the higher, as above, so below, as within, so without. Correct. One of the most ancient teachings that have ever been stamped in the physical world is what he just said. As above, so below. So I hope that helps. I hope this gives you guys some clarity, some food for thought. I hope this talk felt good to you, right? Because we got to stimulate your emotional body, or you're not going to come back to the live streams. Speaking of, if you got value out of today's stream, definitely share it on your personal or professional Facebook page, your Twitter, your YouTube, whatever. We have a YouTube channel that we're continuing to build and expand. It's my name, surprise, surprise. So you go to YouTube, type in ChristianRLong, my YouTube channel will come up. We have many, many videos on there as well. So that's it, guys. Lots of light, love, and power on this beautiful Monday evening for you. And I look forward to connecting with you very, very soon. This is Christian Long, Life Enhancement Consultant. Atma. Namaste. Bye-bye. Love you guys.